Greetings and welcome to Hexed Countered. I'm Joe. It is a new month. It is March, and it is time to talk about the channel update. So I wanted to do a quick update here and talk about the channel, what we did in February, and what we're looking to do in March. So to start off, we'll do a quick recap of some of the statistics. So in terms of views, the channel did 20,400-ish, which is less than January. We do have three fewer days, of course, in February than we did in January. But traffic was down, viewership was down a little bit. January was a great, fantastic month for the channel. In terms of watch hours, we were about 2,000 hours, which is good. And we pushed over 50,000 hours as well in terms of total length. So that was outstanding. I got a notification about that in the YouTube Studio dashboard. That is also less, about 13% less than it was in January. Again, like I said, January is going to be hard to match. We had a great month in January. I wish I could catch that, put it in a bottle and use it over and over again, but that's just not how it works. In terms of subscribers, we added 112, which is also down because January, like I said, matchless. And the number one video for January, or February rather, I'm sorry, was Hexed Countered, the first look at Death of an Army, Ypres 1914. So that was our top video of the month of February 2025. And it did pretty well, actually, and is comparable to the top video from January. So in that regard, things seem to be definitely progressing in a positive manner. I am still hopeful of trying to hit my target of 5,000 subscribers by the end of 2025. I think it's a bit of a long shot. That's a lot. It's still 1,200 more than what I have right now. A little less than 1,200, but pretty close to 1,200 with 10 months. So that's about 120 a month. So February I did 112, so that's close, but I need to do a little bit better than that. So hopefully, I'm trying to build momentum, keep it going, trying to provide a diverse set of content. So you may have noticed there's been some more PC war games that I've done. There are also some PC sports games I might touch on as well. And there are a couple reasons for that. A lot of people play the PC games. In terms of war games or even sports games, it's easy to play the PC games. There can be some, you give up a little bit because you have no possibility. Well, generally speaking, typically you have no possibility of a human opponent. You can, of course. There are plenty of multiplayer games out there, but the PC gives you the ability to play an opponent a lot of times, even if you don't happen to have a human opponent around. You can always play against the AI. What I was going to say is the AI of varying games varies in quality. Some of them are scripted and don't really adapt very well on the fly. One thing humans are great at is adaptability and making like intuitive leaps and things like that, So it's hard to mimic that, although, AI coming along, right? And sports games, it really helps with like tracking of statistics and things like that, which is always it's a big thing for me personally. I think it's a big thing for a lot of people who play sports games, but not, it's definitely not a one-size-fits-all world, and everybody's mileage may vary. So let's talk about what's coming up in March. So I do have a family vacation in the middle of the month. Well, really more like the second full week of the month, so towards the middle of the month. So that will impact how much content I get out, which will of course impact how much viewership I get, probably will impact subscriptions and so on. I'm going to do my best to continue to put out content. It may skew more heavily towards PC stuff, only because PC stuff is easier. There's no setup and takedown involved in that. No counters to punch, no corners to clip, nothing of that nature. And just setup time. Putting all the counters in the right spot and all that stuff. It's just easier, and you can do a series. I am currently doing some Rebel Fury stuff, which you saw. The first one was yesterday. I'm going to do Chancellorsville. I'm going to try to play the whole battle. I estimate probably 3 parts, maybe 2. We'll see how things go in part 2. Part 1 involved a lot of maneuvering. Covered the first 2 turns, which was just 1 day of battle because of the nature of that system, the Mark Herman design system. This, of course, is a GMT game. It's got 6 battles, I think, in it, and fantastic game. Great Mark Herman design, as you would expect. Very easy to pick up. Not a lot of rule overhead or anything like that. Very straightforward. And it's like I said, it's a good solid game that doesn't give you brain cramps trying to remember all the rules, which can be the case with some stuff. But yeah, so there are 6 battles. I'm doing Chancellorsville. I will probably try to follow that up, and this may become like a kind of a series, sort of like a Solitaire Sunday type of thing, where I'll play maybe 5, 6 parts. So maybe we do 2 battles. I'm looking at maybe Chickamauga next, but we'll see. Kind of get a so-called Eastern Theater, so-called Western Theater. Although Chickamauga was, Tennessee, but it was Eastern Tennessee, pretty close to the Georgia border. So you could say that's somewhat east, but in terms of the way the armies were organized, at least on the Union side, that was a Western Theater game, or battle rather. So we will be doing Rebel Fury, of course. Another PC game that I will be doing more things on is Headquarters World War II, the Ardennes DLC. I did 1 battle so far. I will probably do 2 more, maybe. At least 1 more, but maybe 2 more. We'll see how things go in terms of viewership numbers. I always try to kind of read the tea leaves on what you guys watch and how much commenting there is, how many likes it gets, things like that. I ignored dislikes. They're good for... They show engagement, so it's actually kind of a positive thing to get some dislikes, but I ignore them in terms of, whether or not I should continue to do something, especially when the likes, generally speaking, I'm always in the high 90s for likes versus dislikes, and I'm often at 100. So if you're going to be a hater, just be cognizant that I'm not going to take that into account all that much. You might be better off posting a comment about why you disliked it than just clicking the dislike button. Just saying. Anyway, other things, right? Other things. Next war, Iran made a comeback. I was fully expecting Red Dragon Green Crescent to win the inaugural From the Library poll to say, well, which of these games are we going to play? Now, they share somewhat of a common theme, kind of a future, contemporarily, near future, let's say that. Near future game between 2 different... they're kind of, the Red Dragon Green Crescent overlaps with the theater of the Next War Iran game. They're obviously different games, different publishers. Next War Iran is from GMT. Red Dragon Green Crescent Deluxe version. This is the deluxeification of a game originally created by Bruce Costello, updated by Joe Miranda, and it's from Decision Games. Next War Iran is GMT, Mitchell Land, on the system created by Gene Billingsley. That's the one that won, and it won 58-42 in terms of percentages. We had, I think, 86 votes when I, decided that that's it. It had been a week, so I gave the community time to weigh in. Things at the beginning, it started off good for Next War. Then there was a big surge for Red Dragon Green Crescent, and then there was another big surge for Next War Iran. So we had a little bit of a seesaw battle, but Next War Iran is the winner. There will be gameplay video of that game this month. When? Probably after my vacation. And it will probably be the Vassal version, because that's a big game in terms of footprint. It's a very wide game. The map is wide, so I don't really have a table. Well, I do, but right now it's covered in boxes of other games. So I would have to excavate, and then I would be able to play it on that table. So I'll probably save myself some time and effort and just play the Vassal version so that you guys can see what the game looks like. Because it's easier for me, and the gameplay is the gameplay, and instead of physical components, you'll just see the digital ones. I have the game. I did the first look video. You got to see what the components look like in the box pre-set up. So I'll probably just vassalize that one, which I'll do occasionally with some of the bigger games that have a big footprint. There are many of those that I have not even thought about doing yet. So there will be some of that coming up in future as well. Other things that might hit the table, there will be more midweek magazines. I have some more YA magazine to do. That will probably be next week-ish for the magazine portion, maybe the following week for the gameplay. I'm planning on doing the gameplay for the Battle of Alma from Paper Wars. That should be this week, hopefully. I leave on Saturday morning. So this is my last week at home. I may bring some stuff with me. I might bring Thunder Alley from GMT, the racing game by Jeff and Carla Horger, or Horger. I'm not sure how you pronounce that, and I apologize. But Carla recently sadly passed away, and I have the game, and I've never done any video on it. So if I can convince my family to play with me, then I'll do a video on that. Because that's not a war game, and while my wife and daughter are extremely reluctant to play a war game, I can get them to play a sports-based game, and my son will play, most likely. So at worst, I hope to get at least a 2-player game. We'll see. We have a Verbo, so we have basically a house that we can spread out in. So it'll be cool. So I'm hoping to do some stuff while I'm away, but again, that's kind of up in the air. I'm not sure exactly what all we're doing while we're gone. Let's see, anything else? Sports-wise, I'm probably going to put up a poll for Red, White, and Blue Racing. Now, I love that game. I've not tried to hide that at all. That's my favorite play game. Another thing I thought about doing is my favorite sports games or my favorite play games, which I may do as well. Because I'd like to branch out a little bit from just doing like gameplay videos and first looks and things like that. I'm also going to try to get the review for Grant, the Western Campaign of 1862, done before I leave. Again, that's going to be time pending, right? Got my job and all my stuff going on, so it might be a little difficult. But I will try. So if that doesn't happen before vacation, it would likely happen after vacation. I may do reviews of Death of an Army, and I'm still waiting on my box from GMT. I know they had a zillion orders to muddle through, but I got Fighting Formations, Hoplite, the Deluxeified upgrade for Fields of Fire, and something else I'm drawing a blank on right now, I think. But a little bummed that I didn't get it before I leave, and I'm probably going to have to email them tomorrow and tell them not to send it because I won't be here to receive it. To have them hold on to it until maybe the end of, maybe around March 14th or something, 13, 14. So I'll be back when it arrives. So that's a bummer because I was hoping to do some Fighting Formations. I'll probably, when I get the new one, do a first look, then go back and play the Kharkov game, and then do the 29th Infantry Division game. Kind of have a little bit of a Fighting Formations fest, so to speak. I also have World at War 85 I want to play. I've got a bunch of Avalanche Press stuff I want to do. There's a ton of things I want to do. I have some Civil War games from Worthington I want to do. I visited Shiloh with my son back in December, and that spurred an interest in doing some Shiloh stuff. I have 3 or 4 Shiloh games, and so I may do a Shiloh thing. That'll probably happen in April because that was when the battle took place, was April. So there's just a lot. I've grown very interested in 19th century, so hence the Alma, which I'll probably follow up with Inkerman, which is in another Paper Wars issue. We have, again, the Civil War stuff, like Rebel Fury. as well as I have a bunch of other Civil War stuff I'd like to do. And Napoleon. I have Napoleon in Russia from OSG, and I've never done anything from that. I also have Fallen Eagles, or I think it's Fallen Eagles. It's the Austerlitz one from Hexed. And I also have another OSG game, the latest one, the new one that was just released. I'm not sure when that's going to ship. I think it's going to ship in March, but I'm not 100% sure. It's been a couple weeks since I read Kevin Zucker's email about it, but that will obviously hit the channel as well at some point. I have, so like I said, there's a lot of 19th century stuff I want to do. So I have rambled on for 15 minutes, and I'm going to stop right now and call it a day. I wanted to give you guys an update. Hope you look forward to any of the things I was just talking about. Other sports stuff too. There will be other sports stuff too besides red, white, and blue racing. And I mentioned a poll. I don't know if I said what it was going to be on. It's going to be on Scram and what season you'd like to see. I have a bunch of them, and that's going to be part of a new series that I'm going to call Long Play. So look forward to hearing about that sometime, probably this week or next week. Whew, that was a lot. It was a lot for me to try to remember. I have no notes. When I glance at my screen, I'm looking at the analytics for the channel, or I looked at my calendar over on the wall over there, but that's about it. I have no notes on this. This is all off the top of my head, so I probably forgot stuff. But that covers most of what I could remember. Anyway, thank you again for watching. If you have any comments, suggestions are always welcome. Questions, of course, any of that stuff, post it up in the comments. I will do my best to get back to you as soon as I can, depending on my schedule. But yeah, that's it. So thanks for watching. I'm Joe. This is Hexed Countered, and until next time, as always, happy gaming.